Hello, my wonderful Algebra 1 students. Let's have another summer adventure together. Today, we will find the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line. Well, exactly how does that look? It looks like y equals mx plus b. This is the equation for the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line, where the m is the slope of the line and the b is the y-intercept. Notice that the slope is the number in front of the x. That's the numerical coefficient of the x, not the x, just the number in front of it. And here we have our y-intercept, where the line is going to cross the y-axis, which is called b. Let's look at that again. Here's our slope-intercept form for the equation of a straight line. The slope is the m, again, the number that's in front of the x, the numerical coefficient of the x. And here the b is our y-intercept. Let's look at an example here. It says, find the equation in the slope-intercept form of the line satisfying these conditions. Well, the conditions will be that the slope is a negative 7/3 and the y-intercept is 0, 5. So I'm going to write the slope-intercept form for the equation of the straight line. So we were given the slope is a negative 7/3. We're given the y-intercept, which was 5. And here we have our equation written in the slope-intercept form when the slope is given and when the y-intercept is given. So that was one example. We're going to look at another example where we're going to look at two more examples, really, where we're going to answer all three of these questions. We're going to write the equation in the slope-intercept form. We're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. And then we're going to graph the line. So the first one that we're going to look at, the equation 8x minus 2y equals 4. Now our goal is to get the y all by itself on the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 8 from each side. Subtracting 8 from each side. 8x minus 8x, 0. Negative 8x plus 4, just bring it down. So we have negative 2y is equal to a negative 8x plus 4. Now we want to know what a positive 1y is. So the way that we undo multiplying by negative 2 is that we're going to divide all three terms by negative 2. So here we're dividing all three terms by negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is a positive 1. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is a positive 4. A positive 4 divided by negative 2 is a negative 2. And we have our equation in our slope-intercept form. Y equals 4x minus 2. Now from this equation, we're going to identify the slope. And we're going to identify the y-intercept. So here we have the number in front of the x is the slope. The number added to the mx is the y-intercept. So the b is a negative 2. So we have identified the slope and we have identified the y-intercept. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to graph this line. Now, the y-intercept is a negative 2. And here I put a little dot on the y-axis at a negative 2. On the y-axis, each x-coordinate is 0. Therefore, I wrote the coordinates for the y-intercept. See, negative 2. The coordinates will be 0, negative 2 again, because any point on the y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0. Then the slope is 4. And 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. Now remember, the numerator is the change in the y. Y sub 2 minus y sub 2. And we can write that as delta y. And the change in the x is x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And remember, we can write that as delta x. So the change in the y is 4. And the change in the x is 1. Which means that every time we add 4 to the y, we have to add a 1 to the x. So that's what I'm doing here to get other points on the line. So I add a 4 to the y and a 1 to the x. 0 plus 1, 1. Negative 2 plus 4, 2. So here's another point that's on the line. I can do it again. Add 4 to the y and 1 to the x, because the slope says that every time I add 4 to the y, I must add a 1 to the x. 2 plus 4 is 6. 1 plus 1, 2. So I have a third point on the line. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to plot the points. So again, here was our 0, negative 2, our y-intercept. Then I go to the right 1, then I go up 2. So here's the point 1, 2. Then I go to the right 2 and up 6. And here's our third point. I then connect the points. And this is the graph of our line. And remember, we could do, we go up, see, according to the slope, we can go up 4 and then to the right 1, up 4 and to the right 1. Also to get the points, other points on the line. We're going to answer those same 3 questions again. This time, we're using the equation 5x minus 6y is equal to negative 12. And we have to solve for y. So what we're going to do, we're going to subtract 5x from both sides. 5x minus 5x, 0. Bring down the minus 6. Bring down the negative 5x. Bring down the minus 12. 0 plus negative 6x is negative 6x. Bring down the right-hand side. Now, this is a negative 6x. We would like to know what a positive 1, well, this is negative 6y. We would like to know what a positive 1y is. So we're going to divide all 3 terms by negative 6. And when we do that, negative 6 divided by negative 6 is a positive 1. A negative 5 divided by negative 6 is a positive 5, 6. So this gives us a positive 5, 6x. And then you notice we have the 2 negative signs, which will change it to a positive. Or 12 divided by negative 6 is a negative 2. But the opposite of a negative 2 is a positive 2. So here we have our slope-intercept form for the equation of a straight line. That was the first thing that we're going to do. Then from this slope-intercept form of the equation of a straight line, we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept. Well, the slope is the number that is in front of the x, which is 5, 6. And the y-intercept is 2. So that's the second thing that we're going to do, identify the slope and the y-intercept. And the third thing we're going to do, we're going to graph the line. Well, our y-intercept is 2. So I put a little dot where the 2 is on the y-axis. Remember, any point on the y-axis, the x-coordinate is 0. So the coordinates of the y-intercept will be 0, 2. And then the slope is 5, 6. And the numerator represents a change in the y. The denominator represents a change in the x. And this says that every time we add 5 to the y, we must add 6 to the x. So here, I take my y-intercept, 0, 2. I add 5 to the y. Then I add 6 to the x. 0 plus 6, 6. 2 plus 5, 7. And I have another point on the line. So over here at the origin, I'll count to the right 6 places. Then I'll go up 7. So here's another dot on the line. Remember, it only takes 2 points to determine a straight line. You can always use a third point as a check. But here, I just connect the 2 dots and I have my line. And remember, as you're watching this video, you may stop it, rewind it, and review. Stop it, rewind it, and review any time that you need to stop and go back and review something so that you will understand what's there. Thank you so very much for watching this video.